Shalom. I want to start off by giving all praises, honors, and glories to Yahweh Bahashem, Yahushai, Bahashem, Hakwadash. I want to give double honors to the apostles and the elders of great millstone taught us. So and meat is 100% truth according to the spirits to be Yahweh Bahashem, Yahushai. Peace and blessing to the hopeful elect out there, pushing his word to the four corners of the earth in true sincerity. Peace and blessings to hopeful believers out there, which are part of the elect. To y'all, I say Shalom. And once again, I want to say call all Yahweh Bahashem, Yahushai, Bahashem, Hakwadash. Forgive me how Hakwadash, the Holy Spirit, to do the lesson on today. Lord, and the fees, the lamb and sheets of Yahweh Bahashem, Yahushai. So we got a video through the power and spirit of Yahweh Bahashem, Yahushai. And I just want to go into how the earth and all the creation is suffering due to poor maintenance. You know, the earth, creation, they're all suffering due to the poor maintenance of the windows and the power seat. You see? And now what we see going on, man, due to Esau's reign, due to Esau's rulership, he's essentially, as you read about it in Matthew 24, if he had the chance to, you know, if the Lord wasn't showing the date, if the Lord decided not to show the days for the elect's sake, the devil will eventually drive creation into the ground, because how he's operating in the earth, he's destroying everything that the Lord said in the beginning that was good. You see? You got to remember, in 2 Thessalonians 2, he said he exalted himself above all that is called God. And he himself sit in the seat of God. You see? His comings is after workings of Satan. Which Satan's mean what? Satan means adverse. Shaitan, adverse, adversary. And that word comings, or I think it's comings or workings. The Greek word for it goes into energia. So this devil's coming in the energy that's adverse towards the good way that Yahweh Bahashem has said in the beginning. When the Elohim have made the heavens, the earth, the elements, they said it was good. But this devil, he comes in and says what? No, it's not good. There's a better way. And that way that he's talking about essentially leading all the creation to death, right? So due to this devil's rulership and the poor maintenance of the poor maintenance of the earth, everybody is mourning, lamenting. See? So I'm gonna just pull a couple scriptures going into that. This is Isaiah 24. In verse 4, it says, the earth mourneth and fadeth away. The world languisheth and fadeth away. The haughty people of the earth do languish. You see? And why do they languish? You know, because we know haughty goes into pride. But the earth is mourning, it's fading away. Why is it languishing? Right? We're going to get it. It says the earth is also defiled under the inhabitants thereof, because they have transgressed the laws, changed the ordinance, and broken the everlasting covenant. You see? And this has happened by way of Esau's rulership. Through his dominion in the earth, he has changed everything. He done change where animals stay. He's taking polar bears, putting them in the Sahara Desert. He's mixing genes of animals that don't need to be mixed, making ligers, making chimeras, you know, and all these particular things. And that's defiling the earth. That's making the earth an abominable place. And it's also causing what? It's causing the Lord to send plagues upon earth. You see? The reason that these plagues are coming upon Babylon the Great and all certain parts of the earth is due to Esau's rulership. That's why these plagues are coming. That's why the Lord plaguing the earth. That's why it's so hot now. When you read about it in this Revelation 16, it goes into that plague of pretty much the Lord making fighting the earth with the sun and the people. You know, that's why it's so hot in the earth. Talking about global warming. You know, of course you got the chemical waste and all the bullshit that Esau's putting in the waters. That plague, while the marine life is all dead. You know, all these particular things, and this is all done under the jurisdiction of the devil. That's why the earth is in a fucked up state. That's why the people are languishing. That's why the earth is mourning and fading away. Because due to this man's rulership, that good way that the Elohim has set up, the devil is not going according to that good way. Which essentially he's being an example unto the Elohim, which is in the earth, because we know that Elohim, those powers in the beginning, they given them body, they elect, right? They're back in earth, and they're looking at the results of what would happen if somebody didn't follow that way that was given to them by Yahweh. They're looking at the result of our fuck up through our disobedience. When we was put here on this earth, through our disobedience, the devil has gotten to the power seat, and he's showing us this is what it looks like. The Lord is showing us through him that this is what it looks like when somebody doesn't follow that good way that I established. Everything mourns, everything is fading, everything is being destroyed. See? Let me get this. Let me get this first Maccabees. Shalaki. Bear with me right quick. It's First Maccabees chapter. We're gonna read verse 1, then we're gonna jump down. It's First Maccabees chapter 1, verse 1, and it happened after that Alexander, the son of Philip the Macedonian, who you know as today, a lot of Edomites refer to Alexander as Alexander the Great, because that was the first time. When you go into Revelation 7 and it talks about the 7 heads, the first head is talking about Alexander the Greek, Alexander the Great. Esau really boasts about Alexander the Great because that's the first time he really got in the power seat in the earth. You see, that's the first time the Lord really set him up. But it says, and it happened after that Alexander, the son of Philip, the Macedonian, son of Philip the Macedonian, who came out of the land of Kittim, has smitten Darius, king of the Persians. You see? And you read about this, if I'm not mistaken, in Daniel 8. I think it's Daniel 8 or Daniel 9. It talks about the ram and the he-goat, which it goes into what? It goes into the Greeks. That battle, you had those particular battles. The battles of which I'm not mistaken, the last one is the battle of Gargamel. But pretty much you had the battle of the Greeks going against Persians. You had Darius, the king of the Persians, you see, who got smitten. He got smitten, man. And it says, and the Medes, they reigned in his stead the first over Greece. You see? That what happened. They was translated, the Greeks, you got, because before the Persians, they took over the Babylonians. The Persians took over the Babylonians. The Greeks took over the Persians, and the Greeks eventually got taken over by the Romans, which is essentially the same people. Right now, jump down to verse 7. Right. First Maccabees 1 and verse 7 says, so Alexander reigned 12 years and then died. And his servants bear rule, every one in his place. And after their death, right? Salaki, bear with me. But it says, and after his death, they all put crowns upon their head, upon themselves, so that their sons after them many years, and evils were multiplied in the earth. Now, what is evils going to? Bad times. Why was bad times multiplied in the earth? Why did a languishing condition come upon the earth? Because how those individuals, which were Edomites, was running the earth, they was doing it not according to the way that the Lord said it's supposed to be. They was doing it going against the will of Yahweh Bashmawashah. You see? You read about that in Sirach 10. Because of unrighteous dealings, riches got by the sea. the kingdom is translated from one people to another. And the Lord does that in a fashion by bringing particular plagues. He gave us an example. He gave us an example with Egypt. You see, Egypt, it was in the earth. It was heathen. They was the big bad wolf at that particular time period. They didn't have all the world in his hand, but essentially, they did have a good portion. They was the big bad wolf in earth at that time. So they was the big dogs, right? And what happened? The Lord took their ass out. Because it was a double whammy, man. It wasn't essentially just, how they was ruling particular things, which we know ain't no heathen nation worse than Esau, but also because they had the sons of God in captivity, and they wouldn't let his people go. And scripture speak about woe to him that oppresses a man in his culture, And when it comes to the law of the Israelites, you got particular laws going to how to deal with us if you have us as a slave. And he didn't abide by any of those things. You see, so the Lord is therefore bringing these plagues, particular things, but upon earth, due to this nigga in rulership, man. So I'm gonna end off with this one, because I ain't got much time. This Proverbs, where's that? Salakia. This Proverbs 29, I think it was one at the top. Yeah, Proverbs 29 and 2, it says, when the righteous are in authority, the people rejoice. But when the wicked bear rule, the people mourn. You see? When the righteous are in authority, the people will be rejoicing. But when the wicked's in rulership, the people they're going to be mourning. Why? Because this nigga, when the wicked's in rulership, this nigga ain't doing right, man. He's telling you that man could be with man, woman could be with woman. He's destroying life. Food, air, weaponizing everything. If this devil has enough money to end poverty, you could do that, man. You could, if you go on ChatGPT and look at particular things, this devil has the funds to end poverty and to do all these particular things that could help benefit life itself and earth. But he's the devil. The Lord didn't set him up to do that. As you read about it in Revelation 6, this is that red horse that was put in a position to take peace from the earth. So he's not set up to bring forth life in the earth. He's set up to bring forth death in the earth on the large scale. Right? Jumping down to verse 16, it says, when the wicked are multiplied, transgressions increases, but the righteous shall see their fall. You see, and that's what's happened. The wicked's been multiplied, and the point of the wicked being multiplied is for two reasons: for them to fulfill prophecy, try to drive creation into the ground, and be destroyed when Yahweh shall return. You see, so Lord, when this is edifying to the power and spirit of Yahweh B'Shem Shai, and feeds you lemon sheets of Yahweh B'Hashem Yahweh Shai. I'm going to end it up by saying, call Allah Yahweh B'Hashem Yahweh Shai B'Hashem Chagadash. I'm going to get the honors to the apostles, the elders, great millstone, to y'all.